And of course, we will be keeping a close eye on the latest coming in on the Russian president's visit and the key takeaways there. But shifting gears now to what's been happening in India, it's been the fourth consecutive day of that aviation chaos we've been telling you about that's unfolding across Indian airports. Over 1,000 IndiGo flights cancelled in just the last 3 days. All departures from Delhi in the latest have been cancelled till midnight, and flyers are stranded as a result for hours across multiple airports. In response, the Indian Civil Aviation Regulator has put the flight duty time limitation norms in abeyance. And my colleague Mohammad Saleh breaking down for you what this entire story is all about.
Thank you very much indeed, Molly. Now, disruptions in IndiGo's operations have left thousands of passengers stranded across airports with little to no information on their flight status. Now, these are some of the images from Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport, where desperate passengers are seen thronging IndiGo's counters for flight information. Now, luggage can be seen piled up at the airport. Similar situation is also being witnessed at the Pune airport in Maharashtra, and the angry passengers could be seen stuck in queues without food or water. This after several IndiGo flights were either cancelled or inordinately delayed. Now, from Pune to Hyderabad, where furious passengers have been sloganeering in the airport, they are raising anti-IndiGo slogans, and they're also seeking justice from the Indian government for their plight. In Chennai, angry passengers were seen questioning the IndiGo ground staff. They're also demanding the airline for some answers after their flights were disrupted. Let's also take a look as to why IndiGo's worst hit compares with other airlines. With its fleet of over 400 aircraft, IndiGo operates well over 2,300 flights every single day. Now, IndiGo alone accounts for nearly about 60% of the domestic passenger traffic. Even a 10% flight cancellation rate would mean that at least about 230 flights would be cancelled for IndiGo. Now, by contrast, the next biggest airline group, Air India, operates less than half the number of flights in comparison with IndiGo. Moreover, IndiGo also connects over 90 domestic, 45 international destinations on a daily basis. A narrow-body aircraft like the Airbus A320, which forms the bulk of IndiGo's fleet, usually operates multiple flights every single day. Now, IndiGo's aircraft and crew utilization levels are higher than other Indian carriers such as Air India or Akasa Air. The airline also has more high-volume nighttime flights compared to its competitors. And although IndiGo is a champion of low-cost carrier model, it does so with a lean staffing model. This means that delays and cancellations can quickly cascade. The situation becomes worse if flight crews reach their duty hour caps due to delays, and the airline has to scramble for a replacement crew for the plane. Now, keeping aviation safety in mind, the DGCA had tightened the flight duty time limitations. Under the FDTL rules, the weekly rest period for the pilots has now been increased to 48 hours from the earlier 36 hours. Night landings have been limited to 2 from 6. Earlier, this is learned to have impacted IndiGo's crew rostering significantly. The norms have also extended the definition of night hours by an hour, imposing additional constraints on the airline's operations. Now, under the norms, not more than 2 consecutive night duties are allowed, and the rules are aimed at better combating pilot fatigue, a key risk in aviation safety. However, these have collided head-on with winter schedules, a pilot crunch, and also a burst of technical snags. But why is flight duty time limitation back in the news? Let's in fact take you back in time. The revised DGCA FDTL rules were notified with immediate effect on the 31st of May last year. The Indian Aviation Regulator initially had asked the airlines that they are required to comply by the 1st of June 2024. But the implementation flight duty time limitations rules were deferred following pushback from IndiGo and other airlines. Later, DGCA decided to roll out the norms in a phased manner. They were rolled out in 2 phases, in July and then in November. While IndiGo managed the first phase, which included longer weekly rest periods for the crew, without much impact, the second phase that requires curtailed crew utilization levels for the red-eye flights, that has hit IndiGo a lot harder. So let's also now take a quick look as to what IndiGo has told the DGCA in its meetings. Now, the airline has said that the flight cancellations will continue for the next 2 to 3 days. IndiGo has informed that it will reduce its flight operations to minimize disruptions from the 8th of December, while assuring that normalized and stable operations will be fully restored by the 10th of February next year. Now, known for its punctuality, the sharp drop in its time performance, IndiGo has said that disruptions are due to misjudgment and planning gaps. And amidst the flight disruptions, the airline has admitted that the actual crew requirement for the new norms exceeded its anticipation. Now, the airline has issued an apology to its passengers. It is assured that the passengers will be informed about change in their flight status. It's also gone on to state that it is working to reduce the impact of the disruptions and to restore normalcy. The pilot associations have claimed that the carrier was not prepared for the new FDTL rules despite sufficient notice. The Airline Pilots Association of India has said that the flight disruptions reflect a failure of proactive resource planning by a dominant airline like IndiGo. The Federation of Indian Pilots has also said that the disruption is a direct consequence of IndiGo's prolonged and unorthodox lean manpower strategy across departments, particularly in flight operations. The grouping claimed that despite the 2-year preparatory window before the full FDTL implementation, the airline had inexplicably adopted a hiring freeze and had entered non-poaching arrangements and maintained a pilot pay freeze, and it demonstrated other short-sighted planning practices. And that's all the reasons that have been put forth as to what has resulted in this complete chaos that's been witnessed at the airports. Because of these issues, it's IndiGo. It's back to you, Molly.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.